Mariners win 10-2. They salvage, and that's a term you've heard an awful lot probably over the last couple hours. The final game of the 3-game series against the Yankees, 1-2 on the road trip, 36-37 on the season. Let's talk about how it happened. For once, it's actually fun. Mariners put up a 4 spot in the first inning. Kolten Wong homers in the second inning. We'll talk about that in a second. To make it 5-0, Ty France absolutely destroys a homer to center field to make it 6-0. Mike Ford grounds into a fielder's choice to make it 7-0 in the third. Caballero has a sacrifice fly. Hernandez and Raleigh both hit home runs in the fourth to make it 10-0. Chris Flexen can't help himself, gives up a 2-run homer in the ninth to make it 10-2. Let's briefly go over some negatives. Tough game for Jared Kelenic. Yeah. Not good. Not good. He should not be in the leadoff spot. That is not putting him in position to succeed. Silly thing to do. And he's really struggled as of late. Actually had been playing a little bit better as of late, which is a phrase I guess is a new thing I used yesterday. Julio didn't have a great day. France outside the homer didn't have a great day. Caballero had a tough day. Ford was not good, although he does drive in a run and maybe should have gotten credit for a second RBI. I mean, that's nitpicking, though. When you score 10 runs on 11 hits, nitpick. Pitching-wise, Chris Flexen, again, you can't trust him. Did throw a scoreless inning. Great to see him not get wasted or not waste more of the bullpen. Yeah, he's not good. He is not good at all. Positives, and let's stick with the pitching. Bryan Woo was great. Command wasn't very good, like control-wise anyway, but got the job done. Got the job done ultimately, and this is now back-to-back starts where he's looked pretty darn good. 5 strikeouts, only allows the 2 hits, does have the 3 walks, 59 of 93 pitches for strikes, isn't superb, but certainly good enough. It certainly helps that the Yankees lineup is awful. But let's see who's texted me in the middle of this thing. It is Harbor Freight surprise. I just won a 170-piece tool set. That's awesome. That's definitely not spam. The other email says, Chris, you're not wearing a hat. Why aren't you wearing a hat? Forgot to wear a hat. This will not happen often. As you can see, there ain't much left up there. It looks presentable enough. Yeah, I thought Woo was good. I think he's been really good over these last couple. And Ty Adcock, another nice job. He's not an elite bat mister, but he initiates weak contact. He throws strikes. As low leverage a situation as there is, as same with Flexen, but nice job by the pitching staff tonight in the whole, except for Chris Flexen is just pretty terrible. And luckily, they don't have to use him in high leverage situations or even medium leverage situations. Anything but the lowest of low situations is what you have to use Chris Flexen for. Now, we talked about there were some offensive struggles here. There were a bunch of guys who did not. Teoscar Hernandez, man, outside of, and look, he was victim of the Phil Cuzzy strike zone yesterday, but, had a tough day. It's great today. Just scorched a homer, picks up 3 hits, scores a couple of runs. Raleigh has a nice day, 2 for 5 with that homer, that jet stream of a homer that just gets out into the right field, over the right field fences. And let's talk about it, folks. Kolten Wong, good for you, man. And let's keep this in mind, too. Nobody's rooting against Kolten Wong. We have justifiably complained about his production because there hasn't been any production. Prior to today, 2 for 3 with a homer and a walk. I mean, good for you, man. Good for you. That had to have felt great. Love that they gave him the silent treatment too, being the final guy on the team to hit the homer. Good for you. Does anything I said last night about him not being a good fit for this roster or really any major league roster? No. Nope. The blind squirrel might be a parable that could be used here, if I'm just being blunt with you. But awesome to see. Because by all accounts, Kolten Wong's a great teammate. He's been a productive major league player for the overwhelming majority of his career. And maybe he can give you something in the second half. I still would designate him for assignment as soon as today. I'd still do the same thing. It's mean. It's a cruel business, but I would. I would. Any other offensive guys that I didn't talk about that had big games? This is going to be a quick one because I feel naked without my hat. And also because, I mean, what else do you say? They've been terrible. And tonight was an example of what they're capable of. Does not hurt that Domingo German is a mediocre at best pitcher. Does not hurt that the Yankees lineup is a shell of what it was a few years ago, or even a couple months ago, when you're missing a guy who was on pace to hit 60 homers again and did literally that the year before that. Makes things a little easier. But credit where credit's due. Mariners played great tonight. And you do salvage, it's easy to say, salvage that final game of this series. I thought Scott Service brought up a great point. Winning the last game of a series is important because whether you believe in momentum or not, that's fine. But baseball is one of those sports too. It's different than football and basketball and all that other sports because, you know, the obvious reason the rules for baseball are much different. But also you're traveling and playing so much that I do think mood affects you more than other sports. You know, I think we've all done jobs that we've been more effective when we're feeling good than not, right? And I think that's a happy flight. Service said exactly that. That is a much happier flight. So tomorrow, we've got Logan Gilbert against Kyle Gibson. Gibson's been pretty good. Certainly beatable. What version of Logan Gilbert are we going to see? Tough lineup. Baltimore can swing it, folks. And the big thing about the win, too, is now you can make this a successful road trip. I think 3-3 is a successful road trip. Is it ideal? Maybe not. No, not maybe not. It's not. The goal should have been 4-2. But 3-3, I won't be too disappointed. Not happy, but not disappointed. Those things are not mutually exclusive or inclusive. But yeah, it's a good win. Good to see them score some runs. Great to see Kolten Wong have a big night. Doesn't change a thing about my opinion on him being on this roster, but especially after I yelled about him and Pollock, to see him have some success, it's awesome. Good for you, Kolten. Tip my cap if I was wearing one, but I'm not. Tip my extremely bald head. Follow me on Twitter at Crawford_MILB. Sports Sometimes podcast. Please check that out. RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast. Please check that out. I host it every single weekend. You're probably tired of my voice if you follow both of these things. Sorry. I mean, I have a decent voice. My tones are somewhere between dulcet and average. Probably leaning closer to dulcet, if we're being honest. I have a little confidence in my voice. Yeah, this was fun, wasn't it? It's fun to have games like this, especially when you struggled like they did over the last 3 of the last 4. And especially how bad that offense looked these first 2 games. Nice little friendly reminder that this team is not bereft of talent. Extremely flawed, but not bereft of talent. And once again, Kolten Wong, we salute you.